We're not going to call our shots in advance for obvious reasons, but GameStop is following GameStop's strategy. We're not following anyone else's strategy.
What's up?
We're doing GameStop's strategy.
I'm sipping again tonight, by the way.
Yolo.
When I move, you move. Just like that. When
I move, you
move. Just like that. When I move,
Now it's your turn.
just like that.
We currently own 4,710 Bitcoins.
I think this may be going down.
When I move, you
And the
move.
news was not received well by the market. We went on SSR. Woohoo! Let's fucking go!
CEO, you don't have the CID. I'm young, wild, and strapped like G.I. Blah!
Eat some popcorn with a sly grin on his face.
How stoned do you think he was?
Bad. He wasn't even watching the game.
He probably thought he was still at the Bitcoin conference.
He's gone full evil billionaire mode at this point. He just does not give a shit. Tripping NBA stars just cuz. All of the Bitcoin community, that was it. They've had enough.
Just kind of stayed zen.
He could drop another buy at any point. All right, let's fucking go.
When I move, you move. Just like that. When
When I move, you move.
Just like that. When I move, you move.
Just like that.
Hell yeah. Hey, DJ, bring that
Yolo.
back.
We're just on some tinfoil right now. We saw some activity with you, Avocado, in my anus.
Your wife just must look at you funny when you say that.
The owner logged into the account for the first
Go
time.
on with your big ass. Let me see something. Tell your little friend he can quit mean mugging.
I can't stand that guy.
Now he's just engagement farming.
They're pumping a stock to their Discord that's overpriced.
This happened once before, and GameStop ran. You just topped
Come
out.
on, we gon' party tonight. Y'all use mouth to mouth, bring the party to life.
That was also 4 days after Ryan Cohen had said YOLO the last time.
When I move, you move. Just like that. When I move, you move. Just like that. When I move, you move. Just like that.
Yolo.
Thanks, everyone, for checking out the show. I'm Sean Fitzy,
I'm Paulie.
And I'm Chuck.
and this is The Echo Chamber. The win streak ended at 8 weeks for GME, but that's okay because we got a Bitcoin buy, and it was announced by the chairman in an interview, and then we got to see him courtside. What more could you ask for, guys?
Not too bad.
I mean, it's pretty sweet. I mean, I saw the tweet you put out there, Fitzy, with Ryan Cohen, and I don't know if that was like, I honestly don't know if it's like an edited video or if the dude actually had his foot out like that, but dude, that edit job was fantastic. That one made me laugh out loud.
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't edit the foot in. I just made sure we all zoomed in and saw it.
It was so
And then,
good.
and then of course, the RC Dr. Evil, because he's gone full evil billionaire mode at this point. He just does not give a shit. He's sitting courtside, tripping NBA stars just cause.
He's got the
just
leather
'cause.
jacket on, just
Yeah.
like, oh man, he don't care.
Yeah, I mean, someone told me, that's what happens when you wear skinny jeans is you gotta like stretch your leg out to put your hand in your pocket. So that's
He's a
probably-
contrarian. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Some people go to the game just to watch it. He goes to the game just to potentially trip someone. That's what contrarians do.
Yeah, and do some other shit. I mean, we'll talk about it a little bit later. I mean, that thing with the popcorn. That
Eat
seems
some
pretty
popcorn with a sly grin on his face.
Yeah, I love that.
How
picture, too.
stoned do you think he was?
Oh, the whole time. Bad. He wasn't even watching the game, I don't think.
Like, do you think he knew he was at
13
a...
out of 10?
He probably thought he was still at the Bitcoin conference.
He's like, yeah, we just bought. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, he wasn't paying much attention at all either. It was
You're like, bro,
time
you're
zones
courtside
away.
at a basketball game. He's like, holy shit.
yeah. Two girls. You don't even know how they got there. He had one on each arm. I don't know what that was about, but he's living his best
He's
life.
living it, dude. Let him
Yeah.
live. Let the man
Yeah.
live.
Yeah.
Oh man, someone figured out who they were. I can.
It didn't take long.
I can get more information on that if we need it.
And I think one of the dudes was the guy that was hanging out actually in the extended version of the picture of Sailor and RC, which I didn't know there was an extended version, but there's another one with those two, and then there's two more
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah,
And,
the guy sitting behind him is actually like an influential figure in like the Web3 crypto space, and so the woman that was sitting to Ryan Cohen's left, so yeah, the woman on his left arm would have been that man's wife, I believe. So
oh,
yeah,
yeah,
so
okay. So he took the hit to sit a row back and let her
yeah,
sit next to RC.
That's a
right.
bold move. I don't know how that's gonna work out for him.
Yeah. I'd be
Yeah.
worried. Yeah, that's great. That's good. Okay, cool. We got Chuck. How are you doing, man? How's your week been? I know you've had some fun.
Yeah, it's been definitely a change of pace. I think, as many know, I did get a puppy. He officially arrived. So, with that comes a lot of energy, but a lot more responsibility and questionable sleeping hours. But he's a good dude. Like, we're super pumped to have him. He's definitely already made our lives just so much better. And I did have the opportunity to also meet up with Roaring
Oh
Sensei,
yeah.
however you say that, Aaron. Really good dude. His accent's even better in person. We went to the very best pizza place in Boston, in my opinion. It's a little, again, I mentioned to Paulie earlier, I don't want to call it cliche, but like if you go to Boston, you have to go to Pizzeria Regina. The pizza is just next level. Then I also recommended that he go to Mike's Pastries after, just because you gotta do it right while you're in town. But it was great to meet him. He's a good dude. Had a good conversation. So it's really cool to meet up with people in the community and see that we're not just people, behind our computers typing all day. We're actually real too.
Yeah, that's cool. Aaron's a friend for
Oh, he
sure.
also
Like,
said, Fitzy, when the heck are you going to have him on the podcast?
yeah, I know.
He's actually starting to get mad about it.
Yeah,
At first, it was
I think you
playful,
might.
but he might be out for blood. Just
Yeah,
be careful.
we'll
Get him
have
on
to
the
get
show.
him on. And he doesn't
Yeah.
want to do the little he doesn't want to. He wants to come on a show that's not the earnings too, and I think he probably deserved one. So we'll have to have an Aaron
That's fair.
special. Yeah,
He said he
yeah,
actually wants to host it, and potentially
yeah.
he asked me if you'd consider stepping down. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I also heard there's going to be a no shoe requirement when Aaron's
No
on.
shoe requirement. Okay, that's
Yeah,
fair.
okay, yeah. I love that dude. And I love that he's going around
I
meeting
understood.
people. That's just pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah. No, sorry, you probably got where we were going with that.
I didn't. It went right over my head.
There's a running joke in the Discord, and it's just we'll move on. We'll just move
I did
on.
that
But
thing where I laughed as if I knew, but I
yeah,
didn't know. I
yeah,
just
It's,
pretended.
it's okay. It's just a funny, stupid joke.
yeah. No, but he's I think it's cool. He's going around meeting people from the community. I mean, he was pretty close to me. And he didn't bother to come our way, so that's cool, I guess. But anyways, he's meeting all these other guys, so that's awesome. But no, we'll get Aaron on the show for sure, probably real soon. Paulie, how's your week been, man?
Been good, been good. By the way, I found the message. So actually, it was Bad Robot found. So the man sitting behind Ryan Cohen was George. I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name. Was Bousis, maybe Bousis. And so he's like a big investor in Web3 gaming and crypto. So his X handle is G Busis, and
Okay.
his bio says founder, CEO at Raise App, founder, managing partner at Protagonist XYZ, which is a venture capital firm focused on backing early stage emerging technology businesses. And he says his interests are payments, gaming, crypto, AI, space, art, music. So, and he's also from Miami.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so neighbors, and he's not Omar. Just so you guys,
Right.
he's
Oh,
not
Right.
Omar.
Yeah.
Omar's
Yeah,
not coming.
yeah. Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a
So
liar
so
joke,
yeah,
Polly.
that
I know you got
one's
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that one's just kind of closing the loop on that. And then so the woman that was sitting next to Ryan Cohen would have been his wife. So yeah. So interesting stuff there.
Yeah.
And yeah, so my week was pretty good. Didn't do a whole lot of trading this week, so I'm just glad that, last week when I did have a really good week trading, I did a lot of rolling and I rolled into longer dated positions because one
Nice.
thing I'm not great at is detecting reversals.
Ooh. Yeah.
and and so And I'm also
We
not
got
very
one.
good at using stop losses because I don't like taking market price on those. So I really just like stayed in most of my positions this week because they're long dated positions, and so I let it ride. So I did
Yeah,
enter a
good.
few things toward the end of the week, and just kind of letting that ride, but really just kind of let it happen. But I was just like, you know what, cool with letting it zoom out, and happy to let that diagonal work. Just kind of stayed zen. Didn't really have any concerns with it all. But
That's good.
on the personal side, things going okay. My wife and I went and saw Mission Impossible last night. The last one, the
Oh
Final
yeah.
Reckoning. And did you guys see either that one or the part one of that series, which was Dead Reckoning?
No, I
No.
don't think I have.
Okay, so just a little bit of context without giving away any spoilers. So, and I posted about this last night on X because I didn't want to forget about it because I just think it's a really cool metaphor. Mostly just because like Tom Cruise is a pilot, and I'm a pilot. I don't get to fly that much just because it's expensive. But in aviation, pilots use two main methods of navigation. One is called pilotage, the other is called dead reckoning. And in pilotage, you use you use navigation tools like landmarks to tell where you are. So you might like just look down at the ground and be like, "Oh, that's a monument I'm familiar with. Therefore, I have some sort of a basis for where I am." But in Dead Reckoning, you basically use your starting point, and then you use things like a stopwatch and your heading, and your power, your speed. Like you basically use math and time. Yeah, you have a triangulation position, and you just use precise calculations to tell where you are using no outside information. And so that's what Dead Reckoning is. And so in both Dead Reckoning, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, and The Final Reckoning, time is a critical component to the plot. And so I just thought it was really kind of cool how they really tied that metaphor in really cleanly, because I know that Tom Cruise as a pilot would have been keenly aware of what that means, overall, and how he would have used that because he's the producer on the movie as well. So I just really appreciated how all that worked. But like, because I can't stop thinking about GameStop all the time too, like it just it it really made me think about how time plays a critical factor in everything that we're watching play out here as well. Not only with how the accumulation patterns have played out on GameStop and how the swaps play out, and how even this timing of the Bitcoin announcement that we just saw this last week. Like, I mean, in hindsight, it all looks so perfect. I wish I would have seen it coming, and maybe I would have had some cover. Like that would have been the smart thing to do. I'm fine that I didn't, because I'm in longer dated positions for my options. But just like time literally governs everything about this entire saga. And so it was just kind of neat to think about how that relates, and the way that time governs everything in that movie.
Yeah. Nice. That's good.
Yeah.
Starting us off right with that. I like that he's also like the stuntman too. I see some of
Right.
those videos of
Always
him
has
just
been. Yeah.
fucking. Yeah, that's just crazy. Dude does some wild shit. I have a hard time like I know picking stuff up off the ground, and I know he's older than me by a good amount, so I can only imagine like
Yeah.
fucking
He
doing all
he
kinds
is
of shit.
a
It's crazy.
he is a consummate performer, and he is just deeply committed to delivering a performance that the audience will enjoy. And like, he might be totally crazy, but like he is
That's what I was gonna say.
absolutely, yeah, he is
Yeah.
absolutely committed to his craft. And like, I absolutely respect the heck out of him
Yeah.
for it. And he did something that I don't think I've ever seen him do before, which was he delivered like a personal message before the movie began, where he just thanked people for being there in the theater to watch it on the widescreen, like as it was intended to be enjoyed, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Nice.
That makes me want to
Yeah.
like short AMC. Just kidding.
Just guys,
They're like
oh my
they're like
God.
begging you to like, come on, dude, just go see the movies, please, please.
Yeah,
I
that's
agree
what
with you,
If it
Paulie.
make
I mean, like, I feel
yeah.
like Tom Cruise seems like an absolute lunatic from like a personality perspective, but you have to respect the dude's cojones because he just does some absolutely mind-boggling stunts. Like, there's an iconic photo that if you search like
Mhm.
Tom Cruise Empire State Building, maybe I can't remember. It was a really tall building, and then you search Will Smith
Yeah.
Empire. Yeah, it's like
Right.
they did the same photo, but Will Smith has like 100 safety harnesses and pins and a
Yep,
team around
yep.
him, and Tom Cruise is literally just there with nothing. It's just like,
Yeah.
holy shit, this dude's
Dude's
out
like
there.
free soloing
Yeah, just he'll be
it.
on an airplane, like just no parachute, just standing on top of it. Like what, dude?
That was
Yeah,
in
Yeah.
Dubai on like the
yeah,
world's tallest
Yeah,
building, and he
like
had like
Burj
no
wild.
shoes
Khalifa.
on. Yeah, he's just standing
Oh,
up
Yeah.
there like fucking.
he's like, this is fine. I'll have my breakfast up here. Yeah, I'll have
I'd be
coffee.
scared to death. That'd be
Yeah.
crazy. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it makes you feel any better, the movie theaters in my town are all good, rich quality theaters. We don't have any AMC here.
I like that.
yeah, yeah. I suck. It's fuck it. Kylo is just announced he's gonna support. So
He's what?
he's gonna buy into AMC.
Oh
Uh,
my god. What is dude that he needs to speaking of
It's
therapists, that dude needs to
yeah,
go yeah, he needs to
that's
figure it out.
that is the
well,
funniest shit I've seen. Yeah, that's bad.
I mean, the thing is,
Like
like, I mean,
what?
it's gonna move when GME squeezes like that. That what there's nothing we can do about it. But what is also true is they're very likely to dilute into
Oh
it. So
yeah,
I
Yeah,
mean,
Adam Aaron.
play
100%.
play that casino at your own risk. But I
I mean,
mean,
again,
and
like can you make
yeah,
money on AMC? Like absolutely you can because it
yeah,
does move and it has volatility, but like it's just funny
yeah.
people like him voting against keeping someone like RC as CEO and then being all
Yeah.
I'm going to invest in AMC after like look at the actions of their CEO. So you're telling me like that's where you're aligning, like that's where you want to die, like you want to go to battle for that? That's insane.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's gotta
Whatever.
be.
I
I don't know.
digress.
It's gotta be
totally
on
nuts.
purpose at this point. I don't know. Adam Aaron's a piece of shit. That
I mean,
dude,
just
that
stack up
dude.
what they've done and look at the share price. But yeah, sure. That's who you want. Cool, man. Good
Yeah.
pick.
Yeah. So, all right. Echo's not here. He's traveling. He's got his job that the one that actually pays him, not the show. So
Yeah,
we appreciate your sacrifice, Echo.
yeah.
Uh,
Pour one out.
he was. What's that?
Pour
Well, I
one
thought he
out
said
for him.
pull one out. He
Yeah,
said pour one out.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
boy.
Pour one out for him.
Pour one
Yeah,
out
pull
for
it out for
him.
Echo.
Well, I mean that makes it sound like he's about to like crash or something up there. I mean, pour one out for him not being on the show, but thanks for
Right.
sticking in there. He was in the air on Tuesday.
Yeah,
and
like
he
14
touched down.
hours.
Yeah,
Oof.
he touched down right around the time of the announcement, and then we sold off. So, we got lore in the echo chambers. If one of us is in the air, we're running, but he's gonna have to circle the runway this
Yeah,
time.
Right.
he broke that trend.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
told him you're gonna have to stay up there, bro.
Yeah. You're
Yeah,
gonna have to
so
get him a refueling tanker or something.
yeah, exactly. Until and it's worth it. It will be. Okay, so we can move on to the week. My week was work wise, whatever. It's shitty. It's all over the place right now. I'm trying to figure stuff out, so I still might have to go back there. In terms of the
Oof.
chart, it was I know, whatever. Ugh. I don't even know what my days are. Well, I will have Tuesday next week, not the one coming up, but the day of earnings. We will for sure have that day off because we'll be having our earnings special. So yeah, that'll be that. I'll be home that day for sure. That's my only day off that I'm positive I'll get. We'll see. Anyway, so the week itself, it was we were flying high, right? The last podcast, the intro started with Paulie saying, have you ever wanted a holiday weekend less or something like that? And that's how we felt. We were all fucking fired up. And Tuesday didn't necessarily disappoint. I think we finished up. Yeah, we were up like 6% from the close on Friday. So we're still feeling good. Ivy kept climbing as well too. So Tuesday, the first day of the week, feeling good. Wednesday morning, I was up late Tuesday night for whatever reason too. And then Wednesday morning, I opened my eyes at like 4 o'clock my time and see the chart, and we touched like 37.50, and whoa, shit! I guess I'm getting up now.
Mhm.
RC had announced the buy. Well, GameStop announced the Bitcoin buy. And we'll, I guess, talk about that in a minute, because I mean there is a filing that came with that as well, which I actually took me a minute to realize that they did put out an 8K, but the initial announcement was done through GameStop, and then we got the
They posted
amount.
on X as well. Is that
Yeah,
what you're
that's
talking
kind of
about? Yeah.
yeah. It was like
Yeah.
a press release that they did.
Which is interesting. I don't know if the account's always done that, but definitely posting more about, corporate updates, if you will, maybe comparatively to previous.
Yeah, I think it's a preferred way. I think they like communicating that way because I think they know we're all
Which
watching
is
that.
smart. Yeah. I was gonna say
Yeah.
that's really smart. I mean, we can all go grab the 8Ks, but hey, may as well just tweet it.
Yeah. And so we bought 4,710, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
741, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, another 741, 4,710 Bitcoin. I think that is worth about 500 million at the time. And the news was not received well by the market. We sold off big time. Just, about that 4710. That's, those numbers. He's that's not on accident, right? Like it's not a
Right. It's clearly
coincidence.
intentional.
Like
He
so
knew what he
that's
was
just
doing.
So
yeah.
I'd be curious quickly, like, so, and I don't know if this is just because I've been investing in GameStop for so long that you start to see patterns and have kind of expectations of certain things. But for me, when I saw the Bitcoin announcement and then I looked at the price of GameStop and I didn't immediately see it at like, $50 or $60 or whatever you want to call it. Part of my brain was kind of thinking, I think this may be going down. Like I kind of
Yeah.
knew a sell off was happening because, like, think about the other companies, right? I can't remember their tickers, maybe like ASTS. There was another one where they simply just announced their intention of buying Bitcoin and creating a reserve. And their stocks went up like 1,000% or like 700%. Like GameStop literally went through with it and made a purchase, and a
Yeah.
sizable one. I know some people wish that they'd bought more, but $500 million is no. It's not like they invested 100K. 500 million is a decent amount to start with,
Oh yeah.
and you just saw it sell off, right? So it's just interesting. It's
Yeah.
favoritism at its best or worst. Or
Yeah, there was a lot that happened. I mean, there was that leak that we had from Peruvian Bull, which he had received about a week prior. But I think the run up we saw Thursday and Friday, the IV pump. I think the news was gotten out to the market that we were going to announce. We felt that IV pump, and then of course they shorted us, right? But it was a sell the news event. Big
totally.
time. Yeah. So I think we, on the run to 35.81, which we touched. What did we touch that? Fucking Wednesday morning, we touched 35.81 at the open. And if you had calls or you had like maybe 5 seconds to get out of them, I tried. I was just fucking sell. I didn't get it right because I couldn't do a
It is
market order.
crazy how quickly they like write it open. It's just like bam,
Oh, it was over, man. And then
over.
after that first candle, I sat there and I stared for a minute, and then I just fucking got rid of most of it because it was ugly after that. So I missed out on that big sell off, thank goodness. But it was ugly. Fucking Wednesday was down 10.5% more,
Yeah.
10.85%. We went on SSR. Woohoo! Let's fucking go.
Which is like I remember when that used
Yeah.
to, I remember when that used to
Yeah.
matter, and unfortunately, it just does not
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
was
like
I was
You
like,
used to
well,
see an
I was
actual
like, well,
difference.
maybe they'll drop some positive news and they'll take advantage of that, but no.
No.
nah, and that was the thing back in 21. We were that and like, oh fuck, I can't even remember all the different tropes that we had back then. But we thought
Remember the
everything was gonna
halts?
save the day. Oh yeah, oh god. Well, those turned out now a halt work. I don't like that. We had a couple good days last year, getting halted and still doing well. But most of the time, halts spell bad news.
Right. And that's why I tend to prefer when the runs are happening in pre and post market, just because you don't have those halts. And that's when historically, like I just remember back in like 2021, waking up at 4:30 a.m., 5 a.m., and seeing GameStop up over 100% and just being like, holy mother of God.
Oh yeah.
And you just
That's the
can't
best.
get that during market hours anymore, because they'll halt it and then they'll halt it again. And it's just you can't you won't get that 100% during, at least because they've changed the game since 2021.
Oh yeah, and we're at 10% is about what we get to. We used to have 20% rips quite often back in 21 and even 22, but now a 10% day is about as good as it gets for us.
Right. Which is amazing, because you just every single day you see other tickers just doing silly things, going
yeah.
up stupid amounts. But
Yeah.
GameStop GameStop announces Bitcoin and
And buys it.
Yeah.
Eat shit for 2 days.
Yeah.
So
Oh, you bought
it was-
Bitcoin? F you. It's like Ray, this is literally what happened. We want GameStop to buy Bitcoin. Okay. We want GameStop to buy Bitcoin. Okay. When is GameStop going to buy Bitcoin? We will. GameStop buys Bitcoin. Crash.
Yeah.
It's just like it's so silly.
Yeah. Thursday we were down 5% again. IV went all the way down to like the 80s. So, in a matter of like 2 weeks, we went from maybe 3 weeks, we went from 55 on IV all the way up to 130, and then right back down to 80. So, I think we say this pretty much every week, but that's where you're gonna make money on options is IV, especially the short dated shit. But it's gonna whoop your ass on IV as well, and that's what happened. Wednesday and Thursday probably were some pretty epic losses for some folks out there. It got dirty. Those days were rough, especially with the IV crush that came with it. So, if you look at top to bottom, we got a wick. Well, we got pre-market Wednesday, we touched 37.49, and then pre-market Friday morning, for whatever reason, we touched 27.01. Wild little wick down there. So 28.49 down to 27.01 and back up. I'm some weird shit, I'm sure. So, but yeah, $10 between fucking Wednesday's high and Friday's low. That's pretty wild. Let's see. Let me see where we are. I'm almost done with this. And we'll book through the rest of the chart stuff. If you count pre-market, that wick filled the gap at 28.40, but you're not really supposed to count pre-market moves when it comes to the gaps. We do have a gap at 28.49. Friday was kind of flat, 0.78%, volume 10.23 million. So for the week, we did have a very nice volume. It was the second highest volume we've seen since June last year, 104 million traded. The only other week higher in the last year was the week of earnings and the offering. So yeah, the gap is still down there at 28.49. Friday didn't give us much of an idea on direction. I would love for the bottom to be in, but we are currently sitting at 29.59 in after hours trading. It's 8:43 on the East Coast. I don't know. It kind of looks like a head and shoulders out there. I could see us heading towards that gap at 28.50. You can see the other two gaps below us, 25.25 and 20.73. We bounced off the top of those for the most part and then took off to the next level. So it's kind of what I think might happen. Maybe the bottom was in Friday. We got a lot of weird option activity. Again, the 125 puts came in heavy. They're in the day before too, but so yeah, we saw about 30 million worth of premium on that strike just on Thursday, Friday. So I don't know. Maybe we got some positioning out of the way and we're ready to move back up. I don't know. Yeah, earnings is in 2 weeks. IV might have some room to go up again in the meantime and back down. So we got a couple different possibilities. 35.81 is kind of, I guess, what I'm watching. All right, Paulie, what you got on the chart, dude?
Yeah. So That's great stuff. What I'm looking at is some support and resistance lines mostly. So I am tracking in terms of what I would call like the mother of all resistance that we need to turn into support in order for things to get really interesting is going to be the anchored VWAP off of the all-time high from back in January 2021. So the challenge with that is that depending on what time frame your chart is in, that VWAP will move. Because in trading view, especially like if you're only looking at data on like the 30-minute or the 1 hour or the 6 hour, like that changes the resolution of the data, and so the anchored VWAP will move. So going back that far in the data, it is a little challenging to look at that with a lot of granularity. But like if I put it on like the 1 hour chart, I can go all the way back to January 2021 with extended hours included, and it still doesn't omit any data. So that's nice. So just to give you a sense of what's going on there, if I do that, then right now that anchored VWAP is sitting at $33.21. And you can actually see in the pre-market hours on Tuesday morning, the first wick down in that gap up Tuesday, that's actually where it tapped. It actually tapped that line. And on last Friday, what we did was we tapped that as resistance. And so then we gapped up above that VWAP on Tuesday, and then came back down to tap it, and then kept moving higher, higher. But then on that news that we were talking about, came back down, tapped it on the pre-market candle, and then crashed right through it. So that is not yet support, but that's an encouraging thing, is that we've been able to test it and be able to get some reliable taps on that. And so it's been respected as a level for support and resistance a little bit. It's just not reliably treated as support yet. I can also tell you that back on January 7th, when we topped out there, we were hitting the all-time high anchored VWAP there, as well as December 26th. So we have now, in the last 5 months or so, came up and hit that as a resistance level 3 times. And then you can go back even further, and you can see that we came up above that level several times last summer. So that's just something that I'm keeping an eye on, because you can only come up and test a level so many times before it finally becomes resistance. So, or before it finally becomes support. So you want that SR flip, it's called support resistance flip. So right now it's resistance. We want that to become support. Another thing I'm watching is I've been kind of going back through and just looking at the way that anytime we get a long wick off of a body of a candle from from any of those attempts to break into those levels, but we just get slammed back down, I will go back and draw a trend line from those long wicks all the way back to the all-time high, or even like the May high, especially if those long wicks are at a relative high where there isn't a lot of open, like there's just like nothing but open space behind it on the chart. So like if there's not a lot of other highs before that are in the way, if that makes sense. So I don't know if I'm doing a really good job explaining this, but
It's
basically
hard.
what
Yeah.
I've
It's hard
yeah,
when you over words.
yeah, Yeah, it's really, really hard over audio here, but I did put out a chart on X earlier this week where I just kind of showed how you get these channels that are created by these resistance lines where if you just start at the all-time high and you just draw a line from that all-time high to where price peaks out on those long wicks, and you can see where you just get these descending channels, and you can see where it gets flipped into support eventually. So that continues to be resistance until it's not anymore. And sometimes it'll dip back below it, and then it comes back up above it, kind of like beach ball getting forced underwater. And that's kind of what happened when we had that pop last year. And anyway, what I'm getting at here is that there's some kind of neat things that happen too when you switch your chart from regular to logarithmic scale
Oh yeah.
with some of
Oh
those
yeah.
lines. And so one of those lines that I was watching, if you track the way that price respected it on the regular scale, that was that descending line that we had from January all the way until early April. And it came down and tapped it like 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And
Yeah.
then we got that bounce in early April, and we've just been going up since. But then if you switch your chart over into logarithmic scale, then that same line is where price topped out in December and January, tapped again as a resistance in early or mid February. So when we got that after hours news article that was kind
Yeah.
of fake news, right? About, oh, well, if they're thinking about buying Bitcoin, right? And then also we didn't quite get there before the convertible bond was announced, but we were getting close to it. And then we finally got back above that around May 22nd. But then just now, when we got that pre-market, we got that weird pre-market liquidity sweep
Yeah. Down to
on
27.
Friday, like on Friday,
Yeah.
just 2 days ago, where it went all like it went down to 2701 on trade. I think it was only showing like 2791, I think, or 2790. There was some
Yeah. I
weird
got it. I
inconsistencies
got
in
it
the
at
data.
2701 on TradingView myself.
Yeah, yeah. TradingView, it shows it all the way down, but on Webull the chart's only showing 2790. And the weird thing about that is if you go to the time and sales data on Webull, it'll show you the transactions that went all the way down to 2701. So I don't know why, but the Webull's not even animating the chart correctly, even though they have the data. But
Weird.
anyway, yeah. So anyway, that the body of that candle is at that line that I'm talking about, and the wick goes way down below it, but the body is at that line that goes all the way back to the all-time high and runs through the price point of $40.19. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the opening price on June 3rd is where I had drawn that. And that happens to be the first day that I bought GameStop shares.
Nice.
So just happy anniversary to me coming up soon.
Yeah.
But
And tomorrow,
but
right?
yeah. But what's really interesting about all that is that
Or
when you go
Tuesday.
back and look for a similar pattern on all that, where you've got a breakthrough of one of those lines, and then you come back and retest it. So you've got this SR flip and then a back test. If you get a successful back test and bounce, that's when it's game on.
Nice. So
So
maybe we
yeah,
got it. Maybe we got it in that pre-market with that weird fucking
it's
candle.
possible. Yeah, it's possible. So like if we can consider that back test to be successful and we turn that line into support now, then it is on to the next one. But the thing is, there are a lot of those lines because GameStop has had so many attempts at trying to overcome that all-time high resistance. So,
Yeah.
like, it's just funny
Yeah.
because like the chart looks like a 3-year-old just got a bunch of crayons out. If you go through and actually mark all of those, but if you like start to get like color coded and mark them green with the ones that have been successfully back tested and move on, and then you know you can get kind of creative with it. But yeah,
All
I
right.
think that's just one thing that I think is really really encouraging about the way that that particular price action happened, because even though price got knocked down this week on the Bitcoin news, what it did was it forced that back test of all-time high resistance, and that is honestly necessary to go high.
Oh yeah.
So I love that we were able to see that happen. I mean, I'm obviously still watching the same things with the moving averages and all that. We're still less than 50 cents away from the golden cross on the weeklies. So you know we could get a blowout earnings or something, and that is the catalyst that forces that to happen. So yeah,
Cool.
good things happening. The daily moving averages are all closely aligned now as well, because I think it was the 50 and the 100 got that bull cross this week. But
Yeah.
other than that, I mean, yeah, we're looking good.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. We were getting out a little over our skis with that touch at 35. We should have probably saw that, especially with Ivy at 130. That's an
Right,
indicator.
right.
So we were gonna come back a little bit. They saw the opportunity, they hammered us down. That long wick. If I saw it at the top, I would think the top is in. So that long wick at the bottom gives me hope. So okay, we're gonna run out of time. We're gonna move on. I mean, it's all Bitcoin related for the most part. There's some tinfoil here at the end. We'll get to, but so Wednesday morning we talked about it already. The Bitcoin buy was announced. We got 4,710 Bitcoin for around $500 million. The reaction to the buy was not only negative on the price on X. It was insane. I don't know. Everyone is just losing shit. All of the Bitcoin community, that was it. They've had enough. Right, Ryan
It's
Cohen.
not like, which by the way, I've been going in a little bit on the Bitcoin maxis, some of them, because there's just an inherent irony to people that bought Bitcoin in 2021 for $63,000 a coin, watched it go to 17,000, held it as it then retraced and obviously has climbed to all-time highs. Like, we're talking about 4 years of holding an asset, and then you enter the scene in March, for meaning GameStop. You go on a tour and a campaign about stressing the importance of buying Bitcoin, and it doesn't matter when you buy Bitcoin because Bitcoin is just going up. You just need to get exposure. You just need to get exposure. It doesn't matter how much, you just need to get exposure. All of that whining and build up to then they finally go ahead and make the purchase and announce it. And all you see are tweets about people saying Ryan Cohen fumbled it and GameStop didn't, do it right. When it's like, you guys were literally saying they just need to get it on their balance sheet, which is exactly what they did. So I don't know. Part of me is skeptical about a lot of these accounts. I think they're clout chasers. I think they know that
Now I am for
the
sure.
GameStop community is super, I don't want to say sensitive, but we're passionate and we're protective. And if we think that somebody is trying to, use an event to try to just get impressions, we're going to call you out on that. And that's going to, it's going to give you those impressions, but we're going to call you out on it. So it was just, to your point, it was crazy to see. I really didn't expect such a negative reaction. I mean, the good news is there are definitely advocates in the community, people like Mozart that are still
Yep.
trying to educate people on why it's important that GameStop did it, and the fact that, yeah, like maybe you wanted them to buy more. That doesn't mean they're not going to stop at their initial purchase. Like, they can dollar cost average, they can increase their position. But the net result is they're still going to be putting pressure on shorts. And that's the key.
Oh yeah, and
100%.
yeah, and we don't know what he bought at.
That's like the mystery. Everyone's wondering if it's going to come out at the annual meeting.
Yeah, I guess it would depend on when he bought, because we don't know. If we could
Good
figure out when,
point.
we could probably figure out where. But the cutoff for earnings as was the end of April. So say he were to buy, I don't know. I don't even want to guess how it's going to look on the balance sheet.
May 3rd was the end of the quarter.
May 3rd. Okay, thank you. Yeah. So who knows if he had made the move by then? Before then, we'll see it on the balance sheet. I'm interested to see what the bond money looks like because that should be on the balance sheet. That cash and cash equivalence line is going to be insane to look at. But you know, we're sitting. Sorry, my wife stepped on the dog toy again. All right, so we're looking at Bitcoin at 105,471 right now. So it's down pretty good. I mean, it was at 110 all-time highs. No,
112,
111,000.
yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what these guys wanted. Did they want RC to dump the whole bag, like all 1.5 billion at once? I think that's what they did want. But who knows? It might have been the smartest thing to just buy a little bit because now no one knows what's coming next. He has a chance that he could drop another buy at any point. We got about I'm assuming he got it around like what 85 to 90,000 kind of is kind
Well,
of.
and that's, by the way, that's like a really important distinction. And I do think that my speculation is that depending on when the price of their entry is, announced, I think we're either going to see potentially an absolute rip or potentially a drop off, depending on what that price is. Because to your point, if they bought, let's say 80 or 75, 70, there's a big difference in allocating 500 million at 70,000 a Bitcoin, just for example, versus allocating 500 million and your entry is 110, right? Like you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck there. So it's just, I think the market will definitely react very viscerally once they know, like, are they in the money or are they down money? And I just think we don't know that quite yet.
Yeah, so we got RC's interview, and I'm kind of just covering the stuff on this because it's all around that. But we got RC's interview, and one of my favorite parts. So Wednesday we got the announcement from GameStop and the press release, and then we had gotten the first ever Trust Me Bro, I think that was successfully pulled off by Peruvian Bull. He had news that GameStop was going to announce our Bitcoin buy. We all heard about that on Tuesday night, and it was announced Wednesday. But he had said it. He had said it before, and I'd heard about it before that even. So, congratulations, PB. No one's ever done that yet. I don't think. But he said he said we were going to get a big Bitcoin buy, and we did. He also said that we would get an announcement at the Bitcoin conference, and it turns out we did. That seemed crazy to me that RC would do that. Still, even the interview seemed a little off. He was like, I don't know. It felt like he didn't really want to be there. I don't know. I'm not sure. But yeah, we got an interview from RC, and one of the things that he said that I really liked was doing anybody else's strategy. I'm paraphrasing. We're doing GameStop's strategy, and I like that. I like that because Sailor just bought again. Sailor just buys, right? Maybe his strategy is to get better price points, better entries, maybe be more strategic about how he's using that capital. And what if we got another 1.3 billion, maybe 1.2 billion available to just utilize? You don't know what's coming. All of a sudden now Bitcoin dropping under 100,000 becomes maybe bullish for GameStop because now we got an opportunity to get it lower than a lot of people had or that a lot of people even thought we'd get. So I like that we are doing GameStop strategy, and it leaves the door open for a whole lot of other things. Especially, I'll just say we saw him at the basketball game as well. I think we were talking about that earlier. But he was in the same seat that Cohen was in, not Ryan Cohen, but Stevie. Call him Stevie Cohen of .72. AKA,
I still remember when that guy tweeted and he was like, "Isn't trade? I guess trading's hard, isn't it?"
yeah,
Like, be
and he
more of
got
a dickhead, dude.
smoked. And then
Yeah.
bro's got the bag for Melvin Capital, so he's not a friendly by any means, but he is the owner of PSA, and I forget.
Yeah, he's
the
one of the partners that helped take him private.
Yeah, so just interesting that RC goes from the Bitcoin conference in Vegas to the next night he's in New York, courtside, taking out star players just for the hell of it, and sitting in Stevie Cohen's seat. And I mean, in my mind, PSA is the most natural merger, the most natural purchase. Some people want to say that that's an opportunity for us to maybe move on from our legacy business and sell it to PSA. I think I'd be kind of devastated if that happens. I'll say that now. I don't want to lose GameStop. I like it. I mean, I like what RC is doing. I like how he's focusing on collectibles. I think those two companies would be wonderful under GameStop. So yeah, so that's GameStop's strategy. I don't know. Polly, do you got anything with the Bitcoin buy?
Yeah, there's a lot
I know there's a
of
lot, and yeah,
there's so much to unpack there. I think you've both brought up really great points here. What I would add is that GameStop announcing that they have purchased 4,710 Bitcoin when they announced it leaves the door wide open to speculation on what they could have done. And the thing is, the market had priced in that GameStop had bought Bitcoin, but it had priced in that they had probably bought more, or that they had, perhaps done more,
yeah,
or you know, and so then we've seen a correction. But what the market hasn't necessarily taken into account with this correction is that GameStop could have bought a lot more than that, sold the top, and that's what they now have remaining at the time of the press
yeah,
release. They
yeah. I
also
like
could
that
have
too.
bought more than that on a forward settled basis, and that's all they've received so far. It's also possible that they could have bought more before the convertible bond was even factored in, because the amount that they disclosed is below materiality thresholds without the convertible bond even being factored in. So
Yeah, uh,
we know that, you know, the amount that they've disclosed, especially depending on when they bought it, because if they had bought it when Bitcoin was trading below, say, 80,000,
yeah,
then 4,710 Bitcoin is well below material thresholds. So they would have been free to buy that with the free cash flow, the liquid cash that they had, without needing the convertible bond money whatsoever. So the bond money
yeah,
could be, tied up in forward settled contracts, could be tied up in other exposure to Bitcoin. They could have bought MSTR, they could have bought Strife,
yeah,
they could have bought Strike, they could have bought Metaplanet. We don't know. And if any of those investments are immaterial in terms of what they are required to disclose in a timely manner, then we're just not going to know anything until it shows up on the balance sheet or they choose to disclose it. I also want to touch on the fact that there was an 8K that was issued on Wednesday, like you mentioned, but the 8K was not disclosing the purchase of Bitcoin.
yeah,
The 8K was disclosing the press release,
yeah. Which is crazy to me. Yeah, that's a
right?
good call. Good call out.
Yeah. Yeah, and so, this kind of goes back to the whole discussion that we've been having. If you buy Bitcoin, you are not legally obligated to disclose an 8K on it. Like, that is just not how this works. They like they chose to disclose it as an item 8.01. Like, hey, we issued a press release, which they don't even issue an 8K for every press release that they write.
Not at all.
Which makes this really interesting. Did they decide, like, hey, we're issuing a press release that includes the word Bitcoin, we should probably put on an 8K and see what happens. Are they just testing the waters on how the market reacts to these things? That's entirely possible.
Yeah.
So,
Bad Robot, just real quickly while we're talking about the
yeah,
8K is that he has a theory that that the original 8K could cover like all of our announcements until we use up that 1.5 billion. So It's just,
Absolutely, yeah. He and I are in total, and we've been talking, he and I, about that. I'm not 100% certain that it's even possible yet. I'm still trying to convince myself whether this is possible, but I've been trying to kind of bounce this off of him and kind of get his take on it, because he does a lot of good stuff in like private equity and distressed companies and turnarounds, and like he's really experienced in looking at balance sheets and things like that. And we both think that there's like a maybe a tinge of plausibility to this, but it's murky, right? And so like I'll try to explain my line of thinking on this, but like I'm trying to figure out, like in a forensic accounting sort of sense, whether it is possible for GameStop to have held any of that 4,710 Bitcoin, not necessarily all of it, but any of it, on the balance sheet prior to this last quarter, and just not said anything about it. Because under the old accounting standards, purchase amounts are what you would record those at. And if those purchase amounts were small at the time and therefore immaterial, you know, they could have theoretically just kind of hidden it in the balance sheet, and not necessarily in like a nefarious way, just wouldn't have had to say anything about it because it would have been immaterial. Like if you're dealing with $1 billion a quarter and you spend $10 million on Bitcoin, would you say anything about it? No. Like that's not worth mentioning. And if there wasn't a contract with another, and you know those are just not material things to bring up. So that's sort of the sense that I'm getting at with that comment. And so it's not in sort of a bad faith sort of hiding it. It's just like, well, if we buy the bottom, if we're buying the dips and we're buying small amounts at a time, is it possible to accumulate some Bitcoin over time without it really showing up on the balance sheet in an obvious way? So that's what I'm trying to figure out, right? Because they have had digital assets on their balance sheet in one form or another since 2021, that fiscal year,
Yeah, you're right.
because of Immutable X and the NFT marketplace, and and the value of those assets doesn't get changed under the old accounting standards unless they suffer impairment charges or they get sold. They don't ever undergo a fair market valuation change. They increase in value under the old accounting standards, which is why it was so difficult for corporations to hold Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies until those standards changed in December. So, I've been looking at a lot of earnings reports over the last few days, and I will say this, like I'm still not sold on whether there's any on whether this theory holds any water, but I will say I am really bullish on the overall turnaround and transformation of GameStop, just looking at the evolution of those reports over the last 4 years. Because, you know, people complain about Ryan Cohen not communicating enough, but I will tell you there is an awful lot of communication in those reports, but people just
Oh,
don't
yeah.
want to read them. Like
For
there
sure.
there are pages of management commentary and tons of narratives that you can pull out of those earnings reports.
Oh yeah, and
And yeah,
if you listen to his
it's great.
interviews, oh yeah, and if you listen to his interviews, you could listen to his thesis. I mean, if you just pay attention to the information he does give us, we don't need the speeches. I know we don't hear from him very much, but if you do pay attention, you're going to get a lot of good information.
Yeah,
And he does like to make announcements like at earnings. I'm gonna move on, Paulie. Chuck's gonna have to get out of here pretty quick.
for sure.
He's gonna have to take care of that little baby doggy. But I wanted
He's
to,
got puppy duty.
Dude,
yeah,
he's teething, dude. He's a
yeah.
madman. He's a madman.
I just got a few things I want to hit is because at the end of the interview, RC did say YOLO.
Yep.
Yep. So that triggered.
Which I know you loved. I bet you
Oh
went
my
nuts
god.
when you heard
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah, it
Yeah.
was great.
And nothing's ever happened when he said that before, did he?
Yeah, yeah. No, I was probably and yeah, Paulie just said it like YOLO triggers stuff because after he said YOLO the first time, we had a lot of shit go down. If you forget, he said YOLO on October 25th. He tweeted and deleted
8:26
it.
p.m.
Yeah. Okay. Huh. Okay. And then so he did that on the 25th. The 29th was you avocado in my ass day. There, I said it again. National Cat Day. That was the day that we got the filing for Chewy. So that was right after that. We also started seeing, and we won't get into the U ticker stuff too
Oh my
much, but
god. Still waiting
yeah.
on that filing, by the way.
Oh God, bro, it's insane. But there are 5 and 10K lots. But if you look at who's lining up on the side of you, it's like an all-star cast of fucking shills. So good luck,
Yep.
y'all. Like it's gonna top soon. But
Well, dude,
whatever.
I don't even want to like go too far into the U stuff, but like my favorite thing is when they just like post their little Robinhood screenshots as if like, oh, let's all be so impressed by these egotistical day traders who feel the need to screenshot their profits as if it's their first time making money. On
Yeah.
top of the fact that they're pumping a stock to their Discord that's overpriced. But yes, like you guys can continue like applauding yourselves on the back. It's totally a good look. You
Yeah,
look
and
great.
yeah, like I give a fuck. Like, why are you tagging me
Right, like why
in
does
your wins?
we literally don't care, dude. Congrats. Like you grifted off your community and made money. Awesome. Feel good
Good job.
about it. Cool.
Yeah,
What does that have to do with GameStop and Roaring Kitty? Literally nothing.
nothing. Well, they think that the clues, that one you fell off. Whatever. I'm not gonna get into all that, but I will.
Yeah, we're getting into it. Sorry.
There are 5 and 10K lots on that option chain right now. And we've seen those before in October as well. Those were being sold on you. So, 5K lots came in for you in September on call options, and then they were sold in October right around the 29th. And then that's when the 125s for GameStop started coming in, the 125 puts. So if I'm to posit a theory on what you is in this whole thing, if it is connected, I'm not saying it is by any means. I think it's Kitty's like wind up. He uses that to pump his bag up before he goes into GameStop because the U call sold and then GameStop went on a 68% run in October. So maybe he's using that. Maybe the clues are pointing to that, but to what end? Because this happened once before and GameStop ran. You just topped out. So all right.
Yeah,
So he
it's,
said
it's a decent theory. I mean, I don't think that there's any legs to him being in Unity long term. There's no suggestion for that, but him using it as a means to an end, sure, right?
Oh,
Right. Anything's possible, but it's like I guess a counter, a very easy counter argument could be someone else figured out that everybody's looking for 5,000, 10,000 lots, and they're just emulating the same strategy to drive a price up in a stock because they have enough money to do it.
oh yeah, and
Easily.
watch when they
So
sell
it's like, I mean,
tomorrow.
it could be Kitty, but like it also could be like there's a lot of people out there in the world with a lot of money that are savvy enough to know that there's an insane amount of people looking for these lots. And wow,
Yeah,
I can make a quick bag.
and then on X, a whole bunch of GameStop accounts in air quotes start pumping
Hmm.
this ticker, and everyone jumps in, and Monday
Yeah.
it'll get a pump tomorrow, probably, and then those lots will sell.
It's like no different than what happened with AMC, what happened with BB, what happened with like it's no different. It's just another ticker getting linked to GameStop and people profiting off it.
Yeah, yeah. So okay,
Which is
so
fine, by the way. Just a quick side point. Like, I want
oh
everyone
yeah,
to make money. That's totally fine. It's just to me, like, stop connecting them until we have definitive evidence. And for me, it's disingenuous when you run with the theory and then you suddenly go quiet when you tanks for like 2-3 months, and now all of a sudden it runs again, and you're all,
yeah,
"Yep, told you so." Like, dude, just be consistent for the love of God.
yeah. Just stay out of my feed. That's pretty much all I
Stay out
have
of my
to
feed. Stay out of Fitzy's feed.
say. Don't tag me on your bullshit. I made the mistake of replying on fucking
I
bros.
quote tweeted him. He didn't get respond to me.
Yeah, and then he was me and Zeb made him mad. He was tagging me
Oh.
like, yeah, ooh, look at this money I made. I don't give a fuck, bro.
Isn't that,
Anyway,
by the way, I'm not to we're really going into it here, but I feel like I love these screenshots that don't even definitively show a closed out position. Like that very
yeah,
well could have been a screenshot of an open position you didn't sell and you actually like Show me a close position next time that really indicates that you actually secured profits, please. If you're gonna actually take the time to randomly flex on people that didn't ask you to do that.
Yeah, it's
Take
always
profits,
Like
not
what are you
screenshots.
like what are you, Floyd Mayweather? Like posting your wins? Like, dude, get a life, will you?
yeah. All right. Yeah, we had a lot of people announcing when they're leaving, sharing their wins.
It's like an airport terminal.
Yeah,
All
we
these
don't.
people just announcing, I've left GameStop. I've also left GameStop.
Yeah,
I'm going to be leaving GameStop at 5 o'clock.
all kinds of shit we don't care about, but they want to make sure we see it for
Yeah,
some
thanks so
reason.
much.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
so
and for those of you in the Bitcoin community that are still with us, we're glad you're still here.
oh yeah,
Yeah, I mean there are, by the way, like it's kind of like sometimes the voice of the few are louder than the many, right? Where it's
Right.
like we're seeing the accounts that have large followings kind of get top of the fold in terms of visibility on X. But the reality is there's still a lot of great people out there that believe in Bitcoin and GameStop and see the potential and we're happy, I think, to see GameStop taking some exposure. Even if they wanted to see more, they're happy that it's an initial step in the right direction and they're actually have their toes in the water now.
oh, it's gonna be
100%.
more. So I got to get this 10 knocked out because it's some pretty good stuff. So in October we saw all that stuff. We saw some activity with you, Avocado, in my anus. I'm just gonna say it like that now, I guess.
Your wife just must look at you funny when you say that one out
Yeah,
loud.
yeah, she left, so I'm good now. But that was my new snake. Snake. He came into the Discord last night. And he's like, guys, I think there's some fucking achievements on you, Avocado, and my anus's page, and sure enough, that there was, which means that he logged into that account because prior to that there were not achievements, and that means that you had not logged into your account prior to October 2024. So there being achievements there means that the owner logged into the account for the first time since October 2024. We found that last night. So there's another thing that happened in August. I'm sorry, October, the end of October, that seems to be happening now. Great job, Snake. Fucking awesome. I love that shit. I'm half asleep, fucking out of it. And all of a sudden now we're like, I'm trying to understand how fucking Reddit works. And it was a mess. It was a mess. Everyone's
Yeah.
trying to help me through it. But we got the post off. And it's a big one. Because it really, anytime Kitty does anything on social media, it's a big deal. So I'm trying to see what else. You know,
Yeah. And I think, the last time that we were expecting activity from that account, we got an SEC filing
thank
from
you.
Keith Gill. It was in Chewy, right?
Yep.
It was him disclosing a 0 position in Chewy. That was also 4 days after Ryan Cohen had said YOLO the last time.
Yes.
So, just kind of putting all of that together, if history repeats itself, will we get another SEC filing soon? And what I talked about just a couple of episodes ago was, that whole concept of, will they fight one another for the honor of leadership soon? Will Keith Gill initiate a battle for who has the most shares? And I was thinking about that this morning, and people want to jump on Ryan Cohn for not sounding, convincing enough or committed enough to Bitcoin in the interview. And part of me just wonders, did he intentionally soft pedal that so that Keith Gill would have an excuse to file for an activist position in GameStop?
Maybe. I would love that.
And because in my head it would all be theater, right? But I'm here for it.
That would be fucking awesome. It'd be awesome if we could find a way to get Kitty on the board. I think maybe YOLO is like RC saying, let's fucking move. Like I moved with my Bitcoin buy. YOLO. Now it's your turn to move. When I move, you
Right.
move. Hopefully, maybe that's what he's saying. Maybe we will get the a filing with like fucking 10% of GameStop in some version of options and shares. Maybe he has all those puts too. We probably wouldn't see those. I feel like that's maybe him, but him trying to get money. So, but all right. Sorry, I ran my head into my microphone like 3 times today. I'm all over the place. So just a couple things. Earnings special on Tuesday the 10th. We will start recording about 5 minutes before the close of the day. It was the last. So anyone in the Discord listening right now, you're more than welcome to come on up on stage, talk with us. It was a blast last time. I want to welcome Bad Robot to the Discord. We probably waited a little too long to get him added, to be honest, but he fit right in. So that's
Better
great.
late
We're
than
glad
never.
yeah, we're glad you're there, bro. Adding all kinds of good shit immediately. So good there. I don't think I'm missing any new ads to the server. The Echo Chamber on X. I'm trying to think of a name for that's our community. Arcane is a mod there, so I wanted
I may need like a crash course in like how to. I posted it in there, but like when I post in the community, does it go out to my other followers as well, or is it a
Yeah.
closed contained thing? Like, did my hey go to everybody?
Yep. Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
that went to everybody, and that's cool. It does say where
Yeah.
you're a mod. It says where
Yeah.
you're posting from, but the world sees it.
That's so funny.
Yeah. It's publicly available, but it will show above the post that it was posted in that community. So it'll say like, the echo chamber above your post.
So
Yeah.
Fitzy, do you do like all of your GameStop posts now and through the community like that?
No, and I'm not even sure how I want to use that thing too well yet. Because I mean, I don't want to just be like, I don't know. I want to post like normal, but I've been putting tinfoil in there the last 2 days.
When I remember to put it in the community, I put it in the community. But otherwise, I
Yeah.
just
Maybe my
post.
next one will be what's up.
That'd be good. Just like add a little one-liner. That's great. I try to reply though. If you guys post in the community, please post in the community. It would be great to have some more people posting in there. Let's see. We have some.
Yeah. Oh, by the
Pretty
way,
good
happy
people.
National Adopt a Cat Month. That is June.
Oh, I like that.
Oh,
So if
Oh.
you're looking for another tinfoil reason why Keith Gill might join the board soon, then there you go. That tinfoil is brought to you courtesy of the Howling Puppy on X.
nice.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
All
Yeah, you
right.
got to be aware
Kind
of
of
cat holidays
kind of ironic. Howling Puppy.
Yeah.
into cats. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One last thing, just to keep weird shit to keep an eye on. HKD had a fucking run, so just watch it. That shit.
Right.
was-
Yeah.
God.
That's got some
That's the one
history.
that's the one with that freaking guy, that Chumbawamba guy underwrote, I think, that company.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but that thing, for whatever reason, it pops about 2 to 3 days before GameStop does a
I
lot.
can't stand that guy. God, he's
Oh,
got a
yeah.
punchable. He's like this Step Brothers movie. Like I just want to deliver one of these right to you, suckhole. Like his face actually angers me.
Yeah, he does. I can't. Him and Kramer.
Because I remember he came on CNBC or whatever, and he was just like, it was one of those classic interviews where like they put the price of GameStop in the background, and it was up like 340%. The guy's like, I don't understand this. This doesn't make any sense. This company's garbage, and he's like laughing because he's probably shorted it. He's freaking smug.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Fuck you. Anyways. All right, guys. We're gonna get out of here. So Echo, sorry you couldn't make it this week. Hopefully you'll be back for next week. Thanks, guys. Thanks for checking out the show.
Thanks.
Peace.
See you next time. Bye.
What's up, everybody? It's David Bailey from BTC Inc., and I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend, Ryan Cohen from GameStop. What's up, Ryan?
What's up? How are ya?
Doing well, man. I'm enjoying these Bitcoin prices. How about you?
It's all good.
Well, let's get started. We're talking innovative corporate strategies. We're talking pioneering new paths. You turned GameStop around from a dying business to a thriving business. How'd you do it?
When I took over, the company was a piece of crap and losing a lot of money. The company was under a lot of pressure, moving from physical games to digital downloads. So you had to cut costs. You had to cut costs very aggressively and bring in fiscal discipline. And we did. And retail is a tough business, but it was a big focus on getting costs under control. You've got a lot of macro headwinds going against the company. You have a move from physical games to digital downloads, and we needed to get the costs under control, and also shift the business from being so reliant on video games to collectibles, which we've done. And so now there's a big focus on trading cards. We're doing grading in a bunch of stores, and we're selling a lot of trading cards, both in sports and TCG. But the company today is profitable in the US, and we've gotten our costs under control. You had a lot of executives and directors that were very short-sighted, and effectively they were making decisions that were what they call in corporate America in good corporate governance, which is effectively screwing shareholders. So we got rid of all of that nonsense, and we focused on running the business profitably.
Well, you also made some news about a month ago or so that you raised some money that you might use to buy Bitcoin. I guess the $1 million question that everyone wants to know is, has GameStop bought Bitcoin?
We have bought Bitcoin.
Ooh. Okay, how much?
We currently own 4,710 Bitcoins.
Let's go. So tell us about that. Why did GameStop decide to buy Bitcoin?
It was, if the thesis is correct, then Bitcoin and gold as well can be a hedge against global currency devaluation and systemic risk. Bitcoin has certain unique advantages compared to gold. The portability aspect of it, it's instantly transferable across the globe, whereas gold is bulky and very expensive to ship. The authenticity, it's instantly verified via the blockchain. The storage, you can easily secure Bitcoin in a wallet, whereas gold requires insurance and it's very expensive. There's the scarcity element of it as well. There's a fixed supply of Bitcoin, whereas with gold, certain technological advances, the supply of gold is still uncertain. And then ultimately, there's the asymmetric upside. Gold is a more mature market. It's roughly around 20 trillion of market capitalization, whereas Bitcoin today is about 2 trillion. And if the thesis is correct, then ultimately Bitcoin becomes digital gold, adopted, then there's more upside. But we'll see what happens. Nobody has a crystal ball, but that's the current thesis.
Well, congratulations. And I feel like GameStop is the ultimate meme stock and Bitcoin is the ultimate meme money. And if you combine the two, you get a meme super cycle. So, what's next for GameStop and Bitcoin? Are you going to buy more Bitcoin? Is this the next MicroStrategy, the next MetaPlanet, or even better?
We're not going to call our shots in advance for obvious reasons, but GameStop is following GameStop's strategy. We're not following anyone else's strategy.
Okay. So to summarize, embrace the GameStop theory. I like it. So final question. The world is watching right now. Everyone at the conference is watching this interview. We probably have 10 million, 50 million people on the live stream. What is the message you'd like to send the global Bitcoin community and everyone who's watching this interview right now?
No pressure. Don't follow GameStop. Make your own decisions independently. It's my message. Just do whatever you're comfortable with.
Don't trust, verify. Let's go.
Exactly.
Well, Ryan, thank you for hopping on. Congratulations on your Bitcoin buy. To many more. Let's go. Thank you.
YOLO.
YOLO.
How can I love you? How can I love you, baby? When your body keeps on moving, I say wait till I squeeze you. Oh. Maybe then you'll stop the grooving. Come on, girl, give it to